I'm not usually the kind of guy who says yes to spontaneous plans. You know the type. I've got my week planned out by Sunday evening, color-coded on my calendar. I drink the same iced coffee from the same cafe every Tuesday. And I actually enjoy folding laundry while watching reruns of old sitcoms. But that all changed one Thursday evening in late spring when my phone buzzed with a message from my college friend Josh. Yo, we're doing something wild tonight. You in? Normally, I would have typed a polite, maybe next time, and carried on with my planned evening of leftover tacos and a documentary about volcanoes. But for some reason this time, my thumb hovered over the keyboard. My week had been heavy. Work was draining, I was stuck in a creative rut, and for once, the idea of not knowing what came next sounded like exactly what I needed. So I took a deep breath, tapped I'm in, and hit send. That one text would kick off the most unexpectedly amazing night I've had in years. It started with a drive. Josh pulled up in his old, slightly dented Jeep Wrangler, blaring late 2000s rock like it was still in style. I climbed in, greeted by the unmistakable scent of fast food and air freshener, and we picked up the rest of the crew, Nina, our friend from high school who never stopped smiling, and Marcus, the quiet one with a talent for getting us out of trouble. None of them told me what we were doing. Trust us, Josh grinned. Tonight's about no plans. Just vibes. Our first stop? An open mic night in a coffee shop downtown. I'd never been there before. Bean and Verse. A dimly lit cafe in Portland with string lights overhead and poetry scribbled on the chalkboard walls. The guy performing was reading a piece about heartbreak and resilience. His voice cracked on the last line. Everyone clapped. A few people teared up. It was the kind of place where you felt things. Deeply. We sipped lattes and passed around a shared slice of vegan chocolate cake. Nina leaned over and whispered, "Remember when we all swore we'd live in New York and do cool stuff like this every weekend?" I laughed. Yeah. Then we discovered Bill's. We didn't stay long. Josh said the night was just getting started. Next up, bowling. Now you might think, bowling? Really? But hear me out. This wasn't your grandpa's bowling alley. This place had neon lights, loud music, and glowing pins. Plus, none of us were good at it, which made it even better. Every gutter ball came with exaggerated theatrics. Every spare was a reason to high-five like we just won a championship. Marcus somehow bowled with a slice of pizza in one hand and still beat us all. I don't know how. At one point we found ourselves dancing, yes dancing, between rounds to a playlist that seemed to have been pulled straight from our high school days. I hadn't laughed that hard in months. After bowling, Nina suggested we go somewhere quiet. So we drove out of the city down a long stretch of highway, and ended up at a lookout spot none of us had been to since college. It was high up, overlooking the Willamette River, with just enough starlight to make out the gentle curves of the hills in the distance. We sat on the hood of the Jeep, passing around a bag of kettle corn someone found in the back seat. It was there, under that quiet Oregon sky, that everything slowed down. There was no rush, no pressure, just us, sitting in silence, occasionally laughing at dumb memories and realizing how much time had passed since we last did this. Then Nina said something I'll never forget. This is the kind of night I'll remember when I'm 80. You know. And she was right. We wrapped things up with a late-night diner run. Of course, you can't have an amazing night with friends without ending it in a 24-hour diner. Sitting in a booth that's seen better days, ordering pancakes at 2 a.m. just because you can. We took up 2 booths talking about everything and nothing. About jobs, relationships, our favorite teachers, our biggest regrets. Nina confessed she still wrote poetry but hadn't shared any in years. Josh said he was thinking of moving to LA. Marcus admitted he wanted to start a YouTube channel about woodworking. Me? I told them I hadn't felt this alive in a long time. We finally called it a night as the sky began to turn a soft pink, a quiet reminder that Friday was here. Josh dropped me off at my apartment, and I paused at my front door for a second before going inside. My feet were sore. My eyes were heavy. But my heart was light. The best part of the whole thing? There was no grand event. No huge climax. Just little moments. A look. A laugh. A memory unearthed. And they all added up to something unforgettable. All because I said yes. Since that night, I've made it a point to say yes a little more often. Not to everything, because let's be real, I still love my spreadsheets and reheated tacos. But to the things that might create a story. The things that don't come with a plan. The ones that might just become the kind of night I'll remember when I'm 80. And if you're watching this and wondering whether to say yes to that random invite, that last-minute plan, or that wild idea, maybe give it a shot. Because the truth is, the best nights, the ones that really stick with you, are usually the ones you never saw coming.